All right, man, let's get into this preview. The Cowboys win a wild football game, 34-26. And as you search for words to describe what this football game was, if you look and search for words to describe what you watched, if you look and you search for words to better give you an understanding of what actually took place on that football field in Maryland versus the Washington Commanders, the only thing that I can come up with that I feel is suitable for this is drunk. Is drunk. Is intoxicated. Is blood alcohol level well past the legal limit. I mean, I've been living for 40 years on God's green earth. I have never witnessed a punt block, a kick blocked, a kick missed, another kick miss, 2 kickoffs back for a touchdown, an 86-yard sideline Hail Mary-ish type play. Like, let me tell you how drunk this game was. At halftime, the score was 3-3. It was a dud. It was a dud of a game. 3-3 the score was at halftime. In the fourth quarter of this football game, with 5 minutes and 27 seconds left to go in the game, the score was 13-9. Now, I told you the game ended 34-26. With 5 minutes and 27 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, the score was 13-9. And all drunken hell broke loose. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It went from like taping your eyelids open and trying to stay awake in this game to pandemonium. Pandemonium. But the Cowboys pulled it out. As crazy, as intoxicated, as drunk as that game was, the Cowboys pulled it out. And before I talk about the bad, I said to myself, you know what? It's been a long time since we've been able to come on this podcast or any other show and have something good to talk about. And I said, I want to give flowers. I want to give flowers to maybe even some people that I've kicked in the nuts the last 5 weeks. I've kicked some folks. The Cowboys haven't won a game in a long, long time. Can you give me the exact date? I meant to write this down early. Can you give me the exact date the Cowboys last won a game? I think it was Pittsburgh, the Steelers. What was the exact date on the Cowboys-Steelers game, I believe, was the last game that they won? What day was that? October 6th. So we're well over a month. We're well over, hell, we're entering 2-month territory. We were on the cusp of 2 months territory since the Cowboys had won a football game. So I think flowers are due in this particular one. And I'll start here because you guys know how I felt about Michael from Pittsburgh and Michael from Illinois. That's Michael McCarthy and Michael Zimmer. And I've kicked both of those old guys in the nuts the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've like steel-toe boots kicked them in the nuts. But I got to say, in this particular game, Michael from Pittsburgh, I thought he put together a damn good game plan. He understood coming into this game that he was not going to have his starting tight end in Jake Ferguson, who was out with the concussion. He knew that he wasn't going to have his starting right guard, Zach Martin, who was out with two ankle injuries, a shoulder injury. He knew that he wasn't going to have his left guard, Tyler Smith, who was out with some knee or ankle injury. And he was going up against a pretty good defense. And I thought the game plan that he put together was one that gave this offensive line a chance and that gave his quarterback a chance. They screwed up my timeline about how I was going to get Trey Lance on the field. They screwed that all up. But The ball came out quick. The average time for the passes that Cooper Rush threw was 2.3 seconds. That ball was hiked. He processed it. Ball was gone. And that I wasn't mad at that game plan. That game plan, I think, was the smartest game plan that he could come up with because of what he had as an offensive line. And to their credit, and I'll get to the offensive line, to their credit, they held up. They held up. Michael McCarthy, Michael from Pittsburgh, he ran the ball. He decided we're going with Rico Dowdle, and while Rico still hasn't eclipsed 100-yard rushing, he was in the high 80s, 3 or 4 yards per carry, 4.5 yards a carry, excuse me. That's effective. That is an effective run game. And I think the thing that they did that was most impressive and really helped them out was staying ahead of the sticks. What do you mean, Jesse? Meaning not finding themselves being in 2nd and 10, not finding themselves being in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8. They got to the 3rd down situation and they weren't even really good. They were 2 of 11 on 3rd down conversions, but they just stayed ahead of the sticks. They gave themselves an opportunity in that game, and even when it wasn't pretty, it wasn't something to marvel over, because it wasn't. It was ugly. I do appreciate the game plan that Michael from Pittsburgh put together. Michael from Illinois, Mike Zim. Might I say that Mike Zim has been putting together pretty good defense. Pretty good defense. Now, I got on Micah last week for saying that we're a pretty damn good team. And I don't think I believe that. And in fact, I know I don't believe that. Because you can even watch this game and show that they are not a good football team. Like, you had to have some things that have never happened in NFL history happen for you to win that particular game. What I think Micah should have said was, we got a pretty good defense. We're doing some things defensively that are pretty good. You saw Micah be who Micah is, and that's always been my plea to Micah. Just be a good football player. You don't have to be anything else. There's zero requirements for you to be a leader, for you to be the spokesman for the team, for you to be the podcast king. Just go be the best damn football player possible. You saw that again on Sunday against the Commanders. You saw guys like Chauncey Golston play a good game, him being able to move back outside. Might I add, I want to give credit. I'll go back and I'll double watch it again. Mozzie Smith played okay. He had some moments in that game where it was. Now, please do not take me saying that Mozzie Smith played okay as Mozzie Smith turning the corner. Not saying that. I'm saying that he wasn't awful. I'm saying that he wasn't horrible. I'm saying that he wasn't putrid. That he was actually okay. And doing some things that were like he know how to play football. But I like the looks that Zim was giving Jayden Daniels in that offensive line of the Washington Commanders, moving Micah around everywhere. Micah was at the tackle. Micah was at the end, the left end, the right end, moving him around, setting him up in the A gap, setting him up in the B gap. Like, he was moving Micah around. And anytime you get a chance to move Micah around, what it does for you now is it creates the one-on-ones. And if Micah can get one-on-one with the guard, with the center, that just makes him such a valuable asset. Because you're not lining them up in one place. You're not keeping them stagnant. You're moving them around. You're creating the proper matchups that you need. And I think that defense, they played some pretty good football. Deron Bland was back in the mix. Looked like he picked off where he left off at. Great story that we'll get into. Josh Butler was out there playing a little bit. Even Donovan Wilson. He came alive and created a fumble. Now, we won't get on those guys on what they did on that Terry McLaurin touchdown. But he was able to create a turnover for the Cowboys. So I got to give some credit to the Michaels. they put together a really good offensive and defensive scheme that allowed them to get the victory that they needed. Like the Cowboys needed. When you go on a 5-game losing streak, life gets tough. Work gets extra hard. You're a little bit snappy. You're a little bit. Those injuries hurt a little bit more. And so for them to get this team off the losing snide and back into the mix, job well done. Cavante Turpin, the smallest guy on the field. I'm gonna say this about Cavante. Ever since, and if you go back and listen to some of my earlier podcasts, I've said this, I've tweeted this, I mean this. If you're a professional athlete, an actor or actress, a rapper or singer, anybody who has money, and you're grill bad, boy, I clown you. Cavante went and got his teeth fixed and his eyes fixed, and boy, he been acting totally different. He been acting totally different in a good way. And you saw Cavante Turpin. I mean, that is in the conversation of play of the year. Yes, the backwards jump hurdle from Saquon is in that conversation, but so is the Cavante Turpin muffed kickoff return. It goes through his arms, goes through his legs, and he picks it up at the 1-yard line and turns that into a act like I'm going right, hit the B button, spin move, come back left, 99-yard kickoff return back for a touchdown. Like that, those are plays that go down in history, in a rivalry history, in a player's history. What a big play. And that's the second big play that Cavante Turpin has made in the same amount of weeks. He had the big slant last week, and he came back and he made a huge play for the Cowboys. So got to give Cavante Turpin some love on that. Talking about the O-line love. The O-line has been an issue, a problem for the Cowboys all year long. My God, Tyler Guyton, please, son, go sit down. I don't mean to be so mean to you. I know that you're young and you're trying to learn, but go sit down. Please, go sit down. Go have a seat over there in the corner and chill out. But you're probably going to have to play him because Austin Richards is hurt. So Austin Richards is hurt, so you're probably going to have to keep out there with Tyler Guyton. But, boy, Tyler Guyton. I'm giving flowers. I'm not talking about that. I'm giving flowers. The offensive line has been an issue, but I got to admit, they held up. Listen to this. Between TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman, those are the two guards that you inserted for the absence of Tyler Smith and Zach Martin. TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, who, by the way, Brock Hoffman, Brock Hoffman, you're a little spicy. I like it. I like it. You need offensive line. You need a little spicy. You need a dude. You need a dude who toes the line of doing something that may get you penalized, doing something that we may look at as a society as maybe wrong, but okay in the trenches. I need a guy that's going to grab some nuts in the bottom of the pile and twist them. I'm just saying, I need a guy who's looking for a fight. I think there's to be in the trenches offensively and defensively, to be on one of those lines and you nice, I don't think that works well. That don't work well in the trenches. Brock Hoffman's one of those dudes I want in a bar fight with. I want on my side in a bar fight. I don't want to get in a bar fight with Brock Hoffman because he's going to be the type of white dude that hits you. You punch him square in the face and he's like, come on. Any dude that does that when you punch him in the face, run immediately. Brock Hoffman's the guy that does that. So he definitely is a spicy dude, and I like that on my offensive line. But check this out. TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, 0 pressures all game. 0 pressures all game. It gets better. 0 quarterback hits all game. They gave Cooper Rush a sack, but they didn't accredit it to anybody. It was the one we kind of like took the snap, ran back a little bit, and gave himself up. So they didn't credit that sack to anybody. It gets better. That offensive line, those two guys in the offensive line, Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, 0 quarterback pressures. I'm sorry, 0 quarterback hurries. So 0 pressures, 0 quarterback hits, 0 quarterback hurries. These are the guys that are your backups. And granted, this goes in conjunction to the game plan that Michael from Pittsburgh put out there to get the ball out quick, to run the football. And TJ Bass, he graded out the highest for pass blockers, 82.7%. So shout out to those guys. Because a lot of times you wait, and then you get your chance. You don't know when it's going to come. You don't know how it's going to come. But eventually, sometimes it pops up for you, and you have to be able to take advantage of it. And then last but not least, Josh Butler. Josh freaking Butler. Now, again, I know I'm giving flowers. I know some of you might put in the comments, well, Josh Butler was a part of that 86-yard touchdown. But I know. I get it. But think about this for Josh Butler. Let me read off Josh Butler's little story. And I don't want to call it little story, big story. I think that's a big thing for Josh Butler. Well, let me get it up here. I thought I had it up here, but that's all right. We all good. It's in the moments when you need it. Now my phone's talking about I want to update. I don't want to update, bro. Just get me to where I need to get to. So looking at Josh Butler's journey, and some of you, if you're Cowboy fans, of course, you know who Josh Butler is right now. But if you think back, Josh Butler graduated from Michigan State in 2019. If you remember, on senior day, and Josh Butler's a local kid. He's from McKinney, Texas, the local kid here. Josh Butler brought out his 2 dogs to walk him out on senior day, because while he was at Michigan State, he didn't lose one parent. He lost them both. So he didn't have parents to walk him out on senior day. So he had 2 dogs that he walked out with on senior day. After that, he went and he began an acting career. And he made acting appearances on a TV series called All American. And that's where he got a huge TikTok and Instagram following, because he was doing TikToks and posts and stuff like that. Then from there, 2022, he released his first musical album called The Motive. 2023, he signed with the Michigan Panthers of the USFL. 2020, after the end of that season in 2023, he signed on with the Cowboys practice squad and played in preseason games. And then this year, he was elevated to the active roster last Monday. In his career, he had in his second career start today, which was yesterday, he had 12 total tackles, 3 pass breakups, and a sack. Talk about never, ever, ever giving up. One of my coworkers, Joe Hoyt, over at DLLS, he wrote a story on Josh Butler, and I got to pull his quote up. All these quotes I had ready to go, and now they're not accessible. It's all good. We're gonna find it. Y'all gonna have to wait for me anyway, so it don't really matter whether y'all want to or not. But Joe Hoyt talked about, where we at here? Joe Hoyt talked about in this article that every day that he would look at his vision board, and on his vision board, it was sign an NFL contract. And so I just love it. I love a great story. I mean, if you know me, you know my story. It's the story of perseverance. It's a story of never giving up. It's a story of against all odds. And when you think about a guy like Josh Butler and all the things that he's went through, he never gave up hope. And to go out now, I know what you're saying. I don't want my DB to go out there and have to make 12 tackles, but this is what happens when they look to one side of the field and they see Deron Bland, and they go, oh yeah, Deron Bland, this is the guy who had all those interceptions and back for touchdowns. So we're probably not going to pick on him. Then they're going to look over and say, oh, this is the guy, Josh Butler. He ran a 4.7 second 40 at the combine. That's not a pretty fast guy. It's not even the guy we really had on our scouting report. So we're going to throw the ball over here. So by happenstance, you got to make all these tackles now because they're throwing the ball at you. But boy, talk about a great story. Talk about a great freaking story. And, I hope that he gets more and more opportunities. I don't know what the status of Trayvon Diggs will be this week, but I think for one day he was king. For one day you get a chance to be king, and I thought he played very, very big, very strong, very admirable in that game. So a ton of flowers to go around. Again, you still got guys like Demarion Overshown played really well. CD did his thing. Luke Schoonmaker, he made some plays. It was an unusual group of guys out there playing ball, and they just fought. They fought to tooth and nail, and in the end, they were rewarded by a victory. And that's important. And I know a lot of you, I get it. Y'all out on my timeline and all that, and y'all Captain Tank and Team Tank, and y'all want the draft picks. You're like, what are you doing? What are you losing for? Because we want to get a higher draft pick. It's because of guys like Josh Butler. Because you do not know when I'll ever get a chance to play in this league again. You do not know when I'll ever get a chance to start again. I do not know when the next time they will give me a chance to live out my childhood dream. And so at the end of it all, I want to win. I'm not, and Michael was quote talking about something. If the front office is worried about draft picks and all that kind of stuff, I hope we messed it up. Because as a player, and I get the fans' perspective, but I want you to understand as a player, they sacrificed a lot. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the time away from their families. And all I want at the end of the day is a dub. By hook or by crook, however I can get it. Because I don't know the next time, if the next time will be my last time. And that goes for CDE and Micah and all those other guys. You don't know when the next time is going to be. A guy like Josh Butler, I can tell you, is looking over his active roster shoulder every single week. You know why? Because here's what happens. Next week, if Trayvon Diggs comes back, guess who might lose their jersey? You guessed it, Josh Butler. Now, maybe he goes back to the practice squad, maybe not. But I'm also looking over my shoulder because, yeah, Trayvon might come back, but now we may have injuries somewhere else. And the numbers game say, oh, well, we're not taking your jersey away because of Trayvon, but a linebacker, we showed over here at linebacker. We need more offensive linemen. We need this, we need that. And now they start taking jerseys away and you get cut because nothing that you did wrong, but it's a numbers game. I lived that life. So at the end of the day, for this moment, if Josh Butler doesn't play another down, he went out a winner. He went out with the opportunity to say, boy, did we go out there and beat a division rival. That's why. And I'm not taking anything away from the Team Tank guys, for the people who are worried about draft status and people saying, well, I'm trying to help your team for the future. Da, da, da. Guys like Josh Butler may not be here in the future. It's just the reality of it all. You go out there and think, I'm going to make it through this game, and next thing you know, and this is, I'm bringing up Dak, but your legs pointing this way, your ankles pointing that way. Season's done. Who to say that you recover from that? And so, I get it. I'm just never going to subscribe to the fact of tanking or purposefully missing games or any of that. I'm just not. And it's for guys like Josh Butler. Incredible story. I hope he gets a chance to ride this thing out and he's able to make himself a beautiful career in this league because, I mean, it's a great story and he seems to be a good player. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be your starting cornerback, but if he can carve himself out a role in this league, whether it's special teams, being a third or fourth corner, more power to him. And for a guy who's lost both parents and and had a journey like that, sometimes you want good things to happen to good people. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much it for that preview. Quickly, I'll preview